All right, all right. So you all are our final guests of DX the Podcast Live. So we have Tess, Carey, and Bridget O'Connell. They are both senior leaders at Amazon Pharmacy, shaping the future of digital pharmacy. Tess leads clinical initiatives that improve medication access, adherence, and patient experience. Bridget oversees strategic partnerships and payer engagement. She gets to leverage her legal background to scale new pharmacy models. So it is so great to have you both here together. Welcome to DX the Podcast Live, Tess and Bridget.
Well, thanks so much for having us. We're so excited to be here.
Yes, it's going to be great. All right. So over the past couple days, everyone that's here in this room has had the chance to experience the Clinic of Tomorrow, and Amazon Pharmacy is there with their kiosk. It's right here on site, so everyone got to experience it in real time. Tell us about Amazon Pharmacy's conviction behind an era of, hearing kiosks are not what operators want. So how does having medications available within a clinic help urgent care revenue attainment, and how are we kind of flipping the script on that?
Yeah, it's such a great question, and one that I've heard a lot from payer and provider groups that we work with. And I think kind of reversing the order a little bit, the reason we were so interested in kiosks is because, Amazon, we're constantly experimenting. We want it to be even easier than it is today for you to order everything you need, including your medications. Mm-hmm. And so using that kind of framework, we're using drones to deliver medications. In the past year, we opened a number of additional pharmacies, so we've got same-day delivery to over 50% of the U.S., and as a complement to that, we thought, what would be easier or faster than walking out of your medical appointment, your urgent care visit, with the medications that you need right then and there? Mm-hmm. No stopping at the pharmacy, no waiting, no checking, just kind of like, end to end, having that continuous experience. So from a customer point of view, where we originally framed it was, we felt strong conviction that this is going to be a delighter and a differentiator. We thought a lot about, what has maybe not worked so well about kiosks in the past, and what do we think we can bring that's a little bit different? Yeah. And I think leveraging Amazon's, logistics is kind of what we do. That's, long before the pharmacy, getting stuff to your doorstep quickly is a core
I know my
component.
Doorstep is filled all.
Mine too.
Great. Thank you. I think, but using those capabilities and combining it with, really rigorous clinical oversight to bring something that's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. And then finally, the people in this room, what's in it if you, for an urgent care clinic. And I think what's in it is being able to offer your patients, your customers, because that's a word that we use a lot, that convenience, not just in the moment, but to make this is a place where I can come and get everything I need. Mm-hmm. This is a place in my community where if I need a refill, I could stop and pick it up. Mm-hmm. This is a place where, great, my provider is able to dispense out of office, but now there's this kiosk in the lobby and there's 500 more medications. Yeah. And so I'm able to get kind of the complete set of what I need for my healthcare. And so we thought that was really valuable, not just for the customers, but for providers as well.
Yeah, it brings the whole on-demand experience full circle. It's like you literally chose to be there in an on-demand fashion, and you're walking out with the on-demand medication in your
completely
hand. It's very cool. All right, so next question. A smarter, more transparent pharmacy solution delivers meaningful benefits to the urgent care business. Lighter call volumes, improved medication adherence, new opportunities to support patients, maybe even with chronic conditions, and of course, a better overall patient experience like we just talked about. But one critical aspect of that experience that maybe doesn't get enough attention or is maybe never even thought about is the role of the actual caregiver. So Tess, if you would just walk us through, why is this role, first of all, often overlooked in strategic planning, and why has it become such a big deal, or why does it matter so much to Amazon Pharmacy, and why do you think it'll be increasingly important for all of us, especially in urgent cares moving forward?
This is one of my favorite topics. I think as a pharmacist, this is something like I see this gap every day, and I think industry-wide, it's not talked about enough. Mm-hmm. And trying to tease out what is the complexity around caregivers is interesting. Mm-hmm. And I think about healthcare systems. They are very appropriately built around an individual patient record.
Right. Yeah.
However, there is a growing population that has a caregiver that is really driving that healthcare experience. Mm-hmm. And yet the caregiver is not the person in the system. Yeah. And so sometimes they get missed and we miss their barriers. And yet they're the ones doing the work.
Right.
So how do we recognize and anticipate those barriers for a caregiver, just like we would for a patient, and remove those obstacles along the way? And so at Amazon Pharmacy, we're doing a couple different things. The first is we're going to, like Bridget just talked about, we're going to continue to innovate to make it easier for patients to get their medications and stay on their medications. Kiosk being a perfect example. You come out of the office, you get your medication, you're able to start that medication right then and there. And I, as a potential caregiver, I don't then need to have an extra stop or errand to run to the pharmacy. I might have to,
There's already enough burden being a caregiver.
That's exactly right. Like, I got my mom to the urgent care visit. Like, I now have to go pick up kids from school.
You're squeezing it in on your lunch break.
That's exactly right. I got to hop on a meeting. Like, I don't have time to run to the pharmacy, too. But if I can get that medication in her hand and get her to take that first dose, we've essentially, cleared the first hurdle of potential non-adherence.
Yeah.
And to me, that's, the link between us here is that medication non-adherence. That is not a simple thing.
Yeah.
And in fact, in the US, we spend up to $300 billion annually in avoidable healthcare cost due to medication non-adherence. And in urgent care, you're seeing that with patients coming back for return visits, complications,
Right.
callbacks.
Well, and we looked at our statistics, even the 2025 year in review. Nearly every visit leaves with a prescription in the urgent care space.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And so, if we can help this group of customers that are caregivers, help with the initiation of that medication, that's so important. And then once they have that initial dose, we have to help make sure, if it's chronic medication, that they're going to be able to stay on that medication. And so the other thing we've done is we've launched a caregiver support feature. And what that does is it allows a patient to invite someone to be a caregiver on their behalf. So if my mom asks me to be a caregiver from her Amazon Pharmacy profile account, she adds me as a caregiver. I'm able to confirm and then securely manage her medications through my own Amazon Pharmacy account.
Oh, wow.
So I log in as me. I'm able to toggle to my mom's profile. I can put her on auto refill. I can, use packets if I want.
Instead of all the
for her.
finagling that normally happens, which is, Mom, can you give me your password?
Right,
And
exactly.
then can I toggle
read the
in and
code
out
from
of
your
different
phone, right?
accounts?
Yeah. What's the verification code?
Right.
No, exactly. And so I'm able to order on her behalf. I get the refill reminder notifications as text messages. So I'm like, oh shoot, mom needs her medication.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also get that delivery confirmation text message like, oh good, her medication's at her doorstep.
Yeah.
So by really, innovating on behalf of the patient and the caregiver to get medications in hand and then support medication management.
Yeah.
I think that those are some key ways that we're really supporting caregivers.
Yeah, and that's great because you're thinking of it from the patient lens from the start and then identifying the problems to be solved thereafter. Very cool. All right, so as we think about this kind of urgent care journey, we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but one of the final touch points that really determines the patient's lasting impression is this pharmacy experience, right? They walk out of the four walls and they're left to then figure out or navigate what to do next to get this medication. And actually, psychological research shows that people don't remember experiences by averaging every moment of the full experience. They actually disproportionately weigh the most intense moments and the ending. So when we think about what is the final kind of, this is the ending of my experience, right? It's called the peak end rule. I'm not that smart. I was given these notes. That means that this final interaction can really shape the overall satisfaction, loyalty, and likelihood of a patient to return. So tell us how to integrate pharmacy in this kind of retention strategy for urgent care as we think about this peak end rule. And maybe you have a couple examples that you can provide.
Yeah. One thing that I heard when talking with folks today that were coming by and looking at the kiosk was, hey, I actually dispense in office. And so how is this helpful for me to have a kiosk? I don't want to kind of lose that revenue stream, that opportunity. And I was reflecting a little bit on my own experience, urgent care centers in Seattle. There is one chain and they dispense some set of medications. And that's the one that I always go to. And I'm going to, spoiler alert, it isn't necessarily owned by my company. Because that's a difference, right, among chains. And so I think that the kiosk, what that offers is like the singular best experience. The peak end rule is I felt like I completed it all in one visit.
Right.
I walked out, I had my antibiotics, I start taking them then and there. I psychologically feel better in that moment, and I start to actually feel better hours or days faster than I would if I had to, again, go pick up that prescription. And so I think the kiosk, the goal there, I think from a, kind of a provider and a physical footprint point of view is to be able to expand on that selection and be able to ensure that that the patient, the customer has that same experience, not just maybe with the 20 that are easy to keep on hand, or if that's not something that that particular facility does, but to be able to, to supplement that, to complement that, and to complete that journey, I think for, X number percentage of your patients or customers walking out the door.
Yeah, it's very fascinating, that psychology behind it all. So,
If I can just add a little bit more too, I think just elaborating on what Bridget's saying, like clinically, that peak end rule really resonates with me in terms of like the pressure's on for pharmacy to have that great end experience, right? And I think, in an acute situation, you take that medication, Bridget was talking about that right away, that the health experience ends when you feel better. And if we're delaying getting that prescription, then that experience is dragging on for the patient. So if we don't have a really crisp and clean pharmacy experience, that experience is not necessarily positive.
Right.
So if we can help bridge, urgent care centers really finding and helping a patient understand their pharmacy options that are going to allow them quicker access and feeling better, I think that's where retention really comes into play too.
yeah. Well, thank you both so much. Really insightful. I love just the patient-centric focus and how you approach, like, what is the problem and how can we come alongside to make it a better experience for all involved. So will you help me in thanking them for joining us today on DX the Podcast?
Thanks so much for having us.